And thank you for joining us. It's time to review the front pages of our national dailies and see what made it there. We'll start off with Daily Trust, Banditry, News tightens around Turji. And that's on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. 2027, defections heighten fear of single-party contest. And that's on page 28 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Police withdrawal, Tinubu directs ministers to obtain clearance for escorts, and that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have how family of 3 died in Lagos auto crash, and that's on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Reps summon Cardoso over unremitted 16.3 trillion naira, and that's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. And the FCC compiles charges against Malami, that's on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And lastly, on the Daily Trust, we have 32 Nigerians deported from India. And that's on page 31 of the Daily Trust newspaper. If you want more on the headlines, do well to grab yourself a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper and stay informed.
All right, next up, we have this day newspaper right in front. We have Turji meets 29 states chairman, declares PDP set, go and win Osun. Tinubu charges APC aspirant. That's on page 9 of this day newspaper. At the top, we have Dangote refinery raises in-country petrol supply by 5.5 million litres daily amid 11.48 million deficit. Nigeria records high PMS reserve vulnerability with only 17 days sufficiency. Fuel consumption falls by 3.8 million litres per day, month on month. Continued on page 9 as well. President talks tough, says police must protect vulnerable, not VIPs. Directs NSA, others to enforce directive on withdrawal of police escorts from ministers and VVIPs. And we have, that is all we have on this day newspaper. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay informed.
Next up, we have the Nation newspaper. Federal government, states, partners unite to tackle rot in education. Tinubu directs payment of 1.5 trillion naira debt to local contractors. Internal ministerial panel to fix payment delay, more patronage for indigenous firms. And that's on page 4 of the Nation newspaper if you want more on that story. Erujiakpo Dixon said to dump PDP, deep governor eyes the receipt, and that's on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. Only competition will drive down airfares, says Kiyamo, and that's on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Military, Tantita join forces against oil thieves in Ondo. Makinde okays 55 billion naira for road construction rehabilitation, and that's on pages 5 and 8 of the Nation newspaper. And also we have 11 officers on board Nigeria Air Force jet freed in Burkina Faso. ECOWAS ministers, no room for coup. And that's on page 5 of the Nation newspaper if you want more on that story. Oye Bamiji set to become Osun APC consensus candidate. I will win on a court platform, says Adeleke, and that's on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper if you want more on that story. And lastly, we have release report of my husband's autopsy, ex-governorship candidate's widow cries out, and that's on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. If you want more on all of the headlines, do well to get yourself a copy of the Nation newspaper and stay informed. Now,
next up, we have the Nigerian Tribune right in front. Tinubu insists on withdrawal of police escorts from VIPs. That's on page 3. Directs minister to contact IGP, get presidential clearance when necessary. Senators raise questions over directive. Now, at the top left, analysts decry structural gaps in Nigeria's financial regulatory architecture. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. After revision of Q4 2025 issuance calendar, CBN auctions 750 billion naira treasury bills. That's on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. Adeleke emerges Accord Party candidate for 2026 Osun gubernatorial race. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. We have first commercial flight lands in Ekiti Airport. Adebayo, Fayose, Fayemi, Oni, others Lord Oyegbanji. That's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Protesting truck drivers block Ogiri for hours, causing gridlock on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. That's on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. Alleged 2.4 billion naira fraud, federal government arraigns ex-aviation minister Stella Odua. That's on page 5. Page 4 if you want more. Now on health, heavy energy drink may pose serious stroke risk, doctors warn. That's on page 4 as well. We have Ocean 2026 Tinubu meets APC governorship aspirants, insists on party supremacy. Candidate may emerge through a consensus. Omishore absent at the meeting. That's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. That's all we can take on the Nigerian Tribune. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay informed.
Now, joining us to review the front pages of the national dailies this morning is former news director, Voice of Nigeria, Ben Shaman. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start off with Daily Trust. It seems we're getting close to winning the war against banditry. As we can see, banditry news tightens around Turji. Now, the army appears to be closing in on the notorious bandit commander Bello Turji, who has been terrorizing Sokoto State and its environs. What is your take on this?
I think only the naysayers will say that they are not happy. If Bello Turji is actually caught or taken out, I think it signals quite a lot of successes for Nigerians, not just the military, but for Nigerians. But kudos should also go to the military. Therefore, any other miscreant or any other terrorist or those engaged in insurgency, I think the moment they are seeing that the light, the noose is being tightened against them, they should know the game is up. And those who think that Nigeria should go negotiate with terrorists, I don't think we should be negotiating, because we've seen some people who will just simply give these people money to go and purchase arms in the name of amnesty. They come to negotiation table, they come with arms, they return with arms and return with money. And you find those people saying, oh, an agreement has been signed. Signed by who? On behalf of the federal government of Nigeria? I think that even when such agreements must be signed, it has to be federal government of Nigeria, not a local government chairman. And of course, we also have to look at the mining sites. Mining that they are doing there illegally. In fact, I've had reasons to go to some bushes and I saw policemen protecting Chinese and I knew it was illegal mining. How did I know? All those coordinates never belonged to those who were there, and yet they were doing mining. And that is also a source of revenue. Time has also come in for there to be what in Liberia, Sierra Leone, there used to be blood diamond. Now we should come in here and categorize some of these precious stones as blood related, because we are told they are being sent to Middle East, where again Nigerians go to buy all manner of trinkets, golden materials to come and brag around in the country. So I think that time has come that Nigerians should jubilate, and we pray the military makes these successes.
All right, now let's look at this story. I would actually put them together because earlier we spoke about corruption in Nigeria and what is going on at this moment. We've seen the rep summon Cardoso over unremitted 16.3 trillion naira. We've seen the FCC, having or summoning Malami, and they're compiling charges against him. And now we're seeing that the federal government is arraigning ex-aviation minister on 5 billion naira corruption charges. And we've seen so much more. We're seeing the NNPCL saga as well when it comes to discrepancies. So what do you think is going on, and will it continue to become business as usual. We'll hear this, we'll see this in the paper, we'll hear the news, and we'll see scuttles of making sure that they go through to those people that have been alleged for this corruption. But at the end of the day, is anything going to be done about it? Give us your take on this.
This is a signal, or these are signals of very many things to come. When Oshimole said that whoever crosses over to APC, all the sins will be forgiven, we are seeing that some of their sins are not yet forgiven. Your files could be lying down in abeyance, but someone somewhere will come and wake them up, as it is happening in the case of Stella Odua. It is happening in the case of former Attorney General of Nigeria, Malami. And having said so, talking of NNPCL and non-remittance of money, if you look at it, we're talking about the president now looking for 17.89 trillion naira as loans to support the running of 2026 budget. That tells you, I mean, are we going for the broke? Are we really broke? Now, if NNPCL is not accounting or not giving money that is supposed to go to treasury for the federation, something is wrong. And therefore, I think that what the reps is doing is the correct thing they are supposed to do. Their job is to do oversight function, which they are doing, and that is why they are going against the CBN governor. And I think it's good omen. We should fight this corruption and fight it totally and properly to a standstill. Even if it's not to a standstill, to a very, very minimal level. And it does not matter whose cow is God. The CBN governor must not see that, oh, I belong to the presidency. But the National Assembly is also that of Nigeria. House of Representatives, that of Nigeria. Or Nigerians voted them in there. So if they feel that time has come that some people be held to account for their actions and inactions, this is the moment, and we wait to see the result. Not that they'll just fly this kind of hot news on pages of newspapers, and in the end, we don't hear the conclusion.
All right, before we wrap up this segment, let's take a look at this headline: 32 Nigerians deported from India. I mean, according to the Times of India report, it reports that at least 32 Nigerians have been deported from India over alleged involvement in drug trafficking. And this started late last month, where the Delhi police, in collaboration with the Telangana Police Eagle Unit, carried out one of the largest coordinated crackdowns in the country, arresting 50 Nigerians linked to a transnational narcotics network. Such not a good news at all for our country. What is your take on this?
This is an international gangsterism when it comes to narcotics. And the moment they are deported, we expect that the NDLEA will also get them here, begin to look at their lives. When they left in here, left from Nigeria, how did they go to India? What was it that they were doing in India? And if they said, as alleged, that it had to do with drugs, drug crimes, then we begin to look at the sources of these drugs. Did the drugs come through Nigeria? Did they come through some other countries? And that is where you have agreements working. When you have the International Office of Migration and some other UN on narcotics, this is where countries, this is where international non-governmental, international governmental agencies must come together to stop this kind of business. And look at what is happening around Venezuela and America. America will just take charge of its own coastline when they see some ship or some batches carrying narcotics. I mean, they know they want to destroy Americans, and you see America attacking. Some people have condemned that. I don't know, a man who is taking narcotics to go and destroy file. What is it they've been doing? What have been their sources of revenue? What have been the property they have here on ground in Nigeria? And who are their links of people here and there? Who help them to ferry them? How do they fly drugs from Nigeria to India or from any other country to India? That racket, that big racket, that international club must have to be given a special attention globally so that people begin to live reasonable and better lives devoid of drugs.
All right. Now, let's look at this headline, 2027 defections, heightened fear of single-party contest. Now, with the defections of almost all the People's Democratic Party governors and majority of the federal lawmakers to the All Progressives Congress, fears have heightened over the 2027 general elections, turning into, a one-party thing. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, you see, when El Rufai and his team, David Mark and co, just felt okay, they were going to show Tinubu that they are younger politicians. Tinubu also felt okay, they've matched as usual the tiger's tail. The tiger has to bite. And Tinubu is now showing them that he is the master of the art. And that is why not just party followers, you're having governors, you're having the National Assembly, you're having the House of Reps. I mean, just moving to APC. And the path to one party system does not need a prophet to foretold or say or tell Nigerians that this is where it's going. Because a situation where virtually people are moving to one party, of course, we are already saying that it's going to be a one-party system. Yet there is that denial. That denial does not also show APC to reject those coming on board. But like we said earlier, there's still that fear of the unknown, the fear of what they have done in offices, and the need to be protected. But if Stella Odua and Malemi, former Attorney General, Minister of Justice, are today being detained, those who are feeling that they were above the law, today they've been subjected to that same law. That Malami is being detained and questioned today it tells you that the law itself is strong. Only that sometimes you don't have those to implement it. Now we are seeing something, but we also pray that it's not just for public show, like I said, so that proper and diligent persecution and justice delivered to save society, to also serve justice against the perpetrators. We wait to see all of this.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ben Shamang, for reviewing the front page of our national dailies.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that is all we have for Daybreak this morning. Thank you to all of that called in, to our viewers and to our guests as well. With that, we've come to the end of the show. I'm Hawa Adam Kiawa. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so you don't miss out on engaging and interesting conversations as always. Have a wonderful day.
And I am Mimana Bagudu. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news. Thank you for watching Daybreak this morning. Have a great day and stay safe.